So I've had a lot of people ask me to do a video on the police who shot and killed those two dogs that belonged to the homeless guy. Now, as I understand it, they have voluntarily forwarded complaints to the independent police complaints body to investigate those complaints, who have said that they are going to conduct investigation into the incident that happened to see whether it was justified and proportionate. Now, a lot of people have asked about the legality of it, and I thought what better place to talk about that than in a dog park. So there is no specific law as such that provides police the power to shoot and kill dogs at the roadside without any kind of court order and without it being in controlled and proper conditions. There is a narrow provision in the Dangerous Dogs Act and the Animals Act of 1971 which might excuse it, but this is usually reserved to situations where dogs are putting livestock in danger and things like that, which would then excuse liability if they do that, if the dogs are endangering livestock. But it doesn't specifically relate to just the police at the side of the road if they feel that they're in danger. So really we'll be looking at a common law justification or excuse, and the police are going to have to say that they were in immediate danger, and they're going to have to say that they felt that their lives were at immediate risk and threat. But I've also seen lots of other comments from those who are self-proclaimed dog professionals, and they say that this wasn't justified because they say that the situation could have been controlled. And so I think it really warrants some expert input as to whether or not this situation could have been resolved, whether or not these experts could have provided an insight as to how the situation could have been controlled, could have been better controlled. I don't yet know whether these police were dog control police or whether they were just armed police responding to a dangerous situation. Either way, obviously, they intervened, and one way or another, sadly, those two dogs were killed. Whether or not it was justified is going to warrant some investigation. It's going to rely on some expert reports, expert evidence, and they will need to provide justification as to whether or not those actions were indeed justified at all. But it seems to me, at least on the surface, that that situation could have been controlled and should have been controlled. And so I would like to think that an investigation by the IOPC is going to be sufficiently in-depth, call upon experts to see what they think about the situation, whether they should have taken better steps to control the dogs and control the situation rather than just act as they did and terminate them on sight. And ultimately, a lot of people get confused as to what a dog dangerously out of control is. Now, when someone genuinely fears immediate harm, and it's because of the dog being off lead and sort of approaching and looks like they're going to attack and put someone in genuine fear of immediate harm, then the dog may be considered dangerously out of control. But that's a relatively high threshold. It isn't as simple as just somebody says that they think the dog's going to attack them and therefore the dog's dangerously out of control and needs to be dealt with. It's not as simple as that. There needs to be a fairly high threshold. Now, as I understand it, these two dogs in this story had recently attacked somebody and bitten somebody, although from what I read, didn't really need hospital treatment. But that's not to say that they weren't injured and therefore there was justification that they were dangerously out of control. But the question really is, was the police response proportionate in those circumstances, or could they have handled it differently? Could they have put them under control and taken them away and then had them reassessed? That's the real question we need to answer. And I suspect that the investigation is going to say that there was some justification, but not for the extent of the actions that they took on that day. Silly dog, can't even find it sometimes. Or she's found something else that she's interested in. You ready, Floof?